Hi, today we're talking about how to easily work with the four independent parts of your practice brain. Now, I use that word practice brain, it might seem a bit weird, but let's just chunk this one down that we have a brain and we have within our brain certain preferences. And whilst some people are good at details, other people are really good at the big picture. Some of us are great at order and structure. Others are great at creativity and so forth. So in other words, there's a mammoth amount of capability that lies within you. And when it comes to your practice, let's look at the practice as a brain. In other words, there are people within your practice and the team and associates or even practice members who have superpowers in certain areas. And so are you using your practice as a brain? Now, by the way, there's a worksheet on this sort of giving out. So if you want a copy of it, just comment the word worksheet below and we'll get it to you. But you hopefully have already got it and downloaded it so you can follow along with this. And if you look at this from this position, that if you don't have a brain model within your practice, then you're going to be struggling with a lot of different things because you'll be trying to do everything and be everything to everyone, and that just really just doesn't cut it. So what we find is if your practice brain is not catering for all areas, there's four primary things that are going to show up here. And that firstly is that your practice members are going to be confused about their journey of care. They don't quite know where they're going. They don't have a compelling picture of the future. They don't have a piece of their possibilities that you're going to be offering to them. So, it's diminished then into some small little micro of what it could be. And so they get confusion and they go back to their old patterns and that's how it goes. So then the second thing is that your team members will then make it up as they go. They're just sort of inventing stuff along the way, and each team member has their own way of doing things and their own frameworks around it, and sometimes procedures are used, sometimes they're not, and people are sort of floundering as to what is it that we're actually doing here in terms of a sequence or a process. The third thing is that practice members tend to drop out before their time. In other words, when they're confused about their journey of care, when there's a lack of cohesion within the systematic processes of the practice, then they get that they're really not that important. They get that, well, they got what they came for, nothing more, but it was okay, and they'll go. And that's the best case scenario, and the worst case scenario could be that they're really confused and therefore think that the practice doesn't know where it's going, that the team members don't really care, and everyone's different every time, every process is different every time, and they think, well, that's really, I deserve better, that's not for me, and they'll go. And then the fourth thing is that the practice has to be constantly pumped to keep it going, and this is where there's always advertising, always looking for new people, always making sure that there's as much control as possible, and to stop people from leaving, and to constantly keep pumping the energy into the practice. And that is draining over time. So there's an option to that, and this is where, instead of the practice members being confused, you can clearly define their duration and frequency of care. Everyone knows where they sit at any point in time. And within that, then, it invokes a culture where instead of your team members sort of making up processes as they go, you'll have a specific procedure for every activity so that everyone's clear on what the next step is. So there's a predictability to this. And then within that, then, that gives the environment for practice members. Instead of dropping out of care before their time, they've got a specific care protocol to follow. There's a structure to their delivery. It's a very pronounced step-by-step process that they're going to go through. There's certain measurements in terms of time and progressives and reports along the way, certain markers that they're going to reach. So that then becomes a relaxing area for a person to deal with, because then, if they know that they've got this duration that they've committed to, that there's a frequency within that duration, that the team are all backing that up and they know exactly what's needed step by step, and that therefore the practice members are going to stay because they're engaged in it. And so that then allows us to, instead of having to constantly pump up the practice, we can innovate, we can scale, we can ascend the business much more easily. There's a duplicability that comes with this that is really, really profound. So these are all functions of the brain. Now, so we've been talking about the practice brain. So let's just chunk it down here for a minute, and we'll go and have a look at the model that we use within Quest for these particular activities. So we have here the brain, just to reorient yourself on this. We're looking at the right and the left, so we're looking at the vertex view. We're looking at the hindbrain, we're looking at the forebrain. And these functions neurologically have very different appearances. And so the right part of the brain tends to be towards the future. The left part of the brain tends to be a reference to the past. And so to orient yourself to this relative to your practice, then the future-oriented big picture area of your brain is an area that is intent on the future. It's intent on the concepts of possibility, and so it looks at attracting people. It has a great attractiveness and attracting ability, so that the people that come into the practice are drawn there because of the way the practice sees the future for this person. The next area of the brain, and you can put this in on your worksheet if you've got one there, is that the information of attraction, once a person comes in, we have to nurture them. They have to feel nurtured. So the nurture area is the left back part of the brain, where detail and organisation and reference to the past and so forth is taken care of, and it's really important for people to feel comfortable, to feel nurtured, to feel a predictable, safe environment around them. So that's the essence in that particular part of your practice brain. The area that where we look at the detail, but we're also looking towards the future. In other words, where the artisans who are creating something for the future for this person is the area of delivery. So this is where we deliver our thing. We provide our services. We work with a person in a highly connected way, a very engaged way, and it gives them a chance then to go to this next level of possibilities that they dreamed about when they were attracted in to see us, and they feel comfortable about this within the nurture, and so that allows us then to fulfill on that vision that we created for them in terms of duration and frequency. So all of this then allows us to expand our practice. And whether we're an associate, whether we're a principal, whether it's a single doctor, multidisciplinary practice, expansion has to do with these three preceding factors. That people come in, they stay because they're being nurtured. They get amazing results because they're following through the optimum schedule for care, and then that allows them to refer their friends confidently. They can talk about it really eloquently, and they can allow the practice to grow and to expand and to create leverage and bring more providers in and so forth, if that happens to be the model. So this is the practice brain. This is instead of the practice members being confused as they would if one wasn't firing properly and there was no future, then they know what their duration frequency of care is. They will follow through with that. So they will then benefit from nurture. They will benefit from the fact that that everything is ordered and everything is structured and things happen at the right time, in the right place, in the right way. there's nothing missed. So that gives a trust and builds trust within the practice member. So you've got the hope for the future and the trust of what's happening now, and then that gives relaxes a person, allows them to then to take on the delivery, and the delivery is where we engage with them. And they become engaged too. It's not us doing it to them. And that's why using the word practice member, it's not that they're not having it done to them. They're doing it with us. So it's an engagement that's mutual. And we're all working for the same objectives here. And so that then allows this area of expansion to take place. And this is where we really have the opportunity to reinvent ourselves. And the practice should be constantly reinventing, constantly finding out new ways, pumping this innovation, pumping scale, and ascending on all levels. So as far as the team goes and as far as the practice members go, it's about ascending. So if you'd like to dig deeper into how to move your practice to the next level and how to allow your practice to be a fully integrated neurological system with all the different superpowers and skills that you've got within your practice team right now, even if it's just two people, even if it's just one person. It's about how do you leverage yourself into each of these areas, which for many of us is a challenge. But as soon as we take on a CA, we've got to hire for the gaps, and so that CA can then complement us, and then maybe associates, and then maybe there's key practice members too that can fill a role within this. But the thing is here, you've got to have the awareness firstly of the practice brain, how that practice brain works. And I mean, there's within these 4 quadrants, there's 64 different divisions. So it's a massive area that we teach our clients to use, and they think from this position. This model then makes it so much easier to organize and to manage and to scale your practice. So if you'd like to find out more about this, then make a time for a short call, a little 15-minute clarity call here, just to get clear on in what way we could help you, and just to see where it is that your practice is, where it might be stuck, and what would be the priority of solutions that could come from that. So if you'd like to take us up on that, we're most happy to have a chat and just see where it is in your practice brain that you're maybe dropping the ball a bit, maybe not emphasizing enough, maybe sometimes the superpowers within your team that need to be exposed and to be exploited. They're sitting there very quietly and very dominantly, and you're not using them. So these are all key areas of the practice's brain that you can then adjust and alter to allow for better service within your practice. So we can help you in this area. Make a clarity call, and we'll see you then. Cheers.